Welcome back. If you're a single woman and looking for Mr. Right, take notes because my next guest has some really important advice about the type of guy to avoid at all costs and also advice for married people. Joining us via Skype is psychotherapist, relationship expert, Kimberly Moffitt. Welcome, Kimberly. How are you?
Hi, Joanne. It's so nice to see you. I'm good, thank you. How are you
I'm
doing?
doing great, and let's get right into this because you've identified 6 types of guys to avoid at all costs. So let's just name them in case we don't have time to really go into them in depth. So the
Sure. Well,
first
the
one,
top 6 guys to avoid at all costs are the playboy, the big spender, the commitment phobe, the risk taker, the mean and nasty guy, and the slacker.
oh my
So
goodness,
just for
and
the
what
record, those are the
happened
top
to the mama's boy? Does he fit in
you,
anywhere?
you know, I think a lot of people would have different opinions on the mama's boy because some women would think that there's nothing inherently wrong with being close with your mom. And actually, sometimes that can even be a sign of respect for women.
Right.
So if he's close to his mom, there's a good chance he could be close with you. I guess the cutoff is where things start going a little bit too far and he's taking his mom's advice
Or if
over
he's
yours.
calling,
And
or if
I
he's
think that
right,
could,
or if he's
in the
calling his
extreme case,
mom, or if he's calling his mom every time. I had this happen once. Every time you're having an argument, or every time he wants his mom to defend himself, that could really be a problem. What about the Playboy? I mean, why do women even get involved with the Playboy? What is so seductive about the Playboy?
So, to give you a bit of a description, the playboy is the type of guy who's always flirting. He's very sexy. He's very social. And when you're together, he makes you feel like you're the only woman in the world. So, that's really exciting for a lot of women and can make them feel great.
So he
But the
makes you feel like you're the only woman, but really he's got all those other women on the side. He makes everybody feel that way, right?
Yeah, so you're not the only woman, ladies. If you're with the Playboy, guaranteed he is texting other women, he is calling other women, and he's making them feel like $1 million as well. So this is a major problem in any relationship. It can end up doing a toll on your self-esteem as well to be with a Playboy.
What about the guy that really indulges you and lavishes gifts on you? Why would we have a problem with that? I
Well,
would
at
love
first
that.
glance, the big spender actually is someone who women love because he's buying you designer clothes or
Ah.
handbags and all of those goodies that every woman loves. But the problem with the big spender is he's lacking self confidence because he feels the need to buy these gifts in order to kind of make up for something that he's missing. And two, historically, a lot of big spenders actually have consumer debt. So unless you know of his financial situation and it's a really good one, spending recklessly could mean a sign for your financial future together, and it could be a negative one.
Also, he could be taking advantage down the line in terms of your pocketbook and your purse strings, so that's probably something to avoid. But what if I mean, how do you
Exactly.
identify, Kimberly, if
It is
somebody
yours, what's
is,
yours is mine. So you're going to have to share, and you'll also inherit his spending habits.
right, but how do you identify early on whether or not he's really has the money and it's
Yeah.
fine, or there really is a problem with
That's a
his,
great question. And so, with a lot of my clients, what I say is you have to look for red flags. You have to look for signs that this is beyond his means. And so, look at what he does for a day job. If he's working at McDonald's, but he's driving a Lamborghini to get to McDonald's, that's a problem. So, and around like once you've been dating for a little while as well, you should be starting to open up about your financial situation, and because that's something every couple needs to deal with. So, make sure you're asking those questions, but in a way that's not too intimidating. You don't want to scare him away either.
okay, so you don't want to scare him away, but you really need to find out a lot about him and make sure that you find out more about his financial situation. Although
Exactly.
initially, couples are not that open about sharing their financial what's in their bank account and what they're doing. But you've talked about the signs, so what he's doing for a living, what's going on with him. What now the mean guy? Why would anybody, Kimberly, anybody want to go out with a mean guy, or does he disguise himself as something else?
Yeah, well, a lot of mean guys are mean underneath the surface. So a lot of people, a lot of women that I see find that the mean and nasty guy kind of emerges, later on into the relationship. He might even start off as a big spender, and then he develops these mean traits after, and he really keeps women in a way chasing after him because he's never really pleased with things. He kind of holds himself in a priority above what's important to you. And so some women end up becoming addicted to this behavior. They think they're not good enough. And because that attitude can kind of rub off on a woman too.
So what it does,
So
it can really affect a woman's self-esteem, especially
Yes.
if he starts, and that can also lead to somebody who's not just verbally abusive, but it may be someone later on who is abusive in another way. I have a question
Exactly.
though, because we're looking at all these types, and what guy doesn't have some of this? I mean, we're looking at all the men here, and what else is out there? And I don't mean to be mean to guys
trust me,
out there,
Joanne,
but what?
there are a lot of really great guys out there. And I think personality exists on a continuum. So everybody has a little bit of the playboy in themselves. Everyone loves to spend once in a while. Everybody even loves to slack once in a while. But I think the problem with these men is that the problem has become chronic, and they've allowed these tendencies to affect their relationships as well as their entire lives. So these are extreme cases.
So these qualities just take over and really make up the person rather than who they could be underneath it. Thank you,
Exactly.
Kimberly. You have such great tips, and we're going to watch out for these guys so that we
Thank
don't
you.
get involved with them. Do you have a desire to break into showbiz but don't think you have what it takes to make it? Ahead, we'll speak with actor Michael Lyons about his acting journey, and he'll share his secrets to turn your dreams into reality when we return.